Hello, my name is Shaughnessy, and this is my podcast called Samples of Science Cuisine, and I would like to introduce today's guest.
My name is Rylee Clark, and I am a biology and animal and nutritional sciences double major.
Do you have a minor?
No, I don't.
No? So tell me about yourself, like, how did you choose biology as your major?
I started out as an animal and nutritional sciences major. I have interest in going into vet school. So obviously I picked the animal science one. But then I think the animal science major, it doesn't require a lot of biology. And just the way that kind of made me sad, you know, I like biology, made me realize, well, maybe I should add biology, maybe as a minor, tried a minor at first, but then I was like, no, I think I could do a major out of this. It provides more career options and just a sort of backup plan if like vet school and stuff doesn't work. And I really enjoy the labs and the bio department as well.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So how did you decide you wanted to go to vet school?
I don't really have like a point in time that I could tell you where I decided I wanted to do it. It kind of just like everything in my life kind of led up to me wanting to be a vet. Like I've always grown up with animals and I really like science, and I think it really combines the two and provides me an opportunity to be able to be a doctor, but then work with patients who can't communicate with you, at least not in like a spoken sort of way, and which I thought was really interesting. It was more so I just sort of threw myself into experiences in the vet field and then confirmed through that I wanted to enter the field.
Yeah. Do a lot of the classes between your biology major and your animal sciences major overlap?
Yeah, they do. They do really well. I think if there wasn't as much overlap as there is, I wouldn't be able to have the second major. Like all the chems line up really well. The biochemistry lines up, and even like the first 2 semesters of the principles of biology classes line up really well. And it gives me an opportunity to then take electives both way, which they don't line up, but they sort of coincide pretty nicely. And a lot of my professors on the biology side allow me to sort of take a more animal approach in like my projects and stuff like that, which is neat.
Mm-hmm. What year are you in college?
That's a loaded question.
Yeah.
I graduate this December, so I guess I have 2 semesters left.
Okay.
So senior, but also junior.
Okay.
In the middle.
So going back to high school. When did you first start hearing about colleges?
I mean, before high school, honestly. Like, it was pushed on me.
What grade do you remember?
Probably 7th or 8th grade. It was mainly because I was involved with sports, and so it was always like pushed in your head. You know, you want to go to these camps and let the guys see you, with like the coaches go talk to you,
Recruiters, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of that was through sports and stuff.
Yeah, that was through academics. It was more pushed maybe like sophomore, junior year of high school, I would say, is when like guidance counselors would come to the classrooms and talk to you about, you know, college is an option. Here's what you need to do to make sure you graduate and that kind of thing.
Yeah. What resources were you given? Like you said, with your coaches, in sports, you were given like camps to go to and stuff like that. But what resources were you given academically?
The guidance counselors themselves were very like knowledgeable, and so I think they themselves were resources at my high school. We had a local community college like down the road that also would have spokespeople come in and talk to us as well. It was mostly like just human interaction, sort of communication about that sort of thing more than like anything else.
Yeah. So you went through the whole college process. When did you start looking at colleges?
Probably towards the middle of my junior year, I would say, is when I like sat down and like made a plan to like look at colleges, because I was looking at colleges beforehand with sports and stuff. But I think to sit down and like from an academic standpoint, I want to go into the animal science field standpoint, was like halfway through junior year, I would say.
And how many colleges did you tour colleges? How many did you tour?
I toured 4 colleges, including West Virginia.
Okay. How did you feel about West Virginia when you got here? Was there like a certain feeling that you knew?
Yeah, I think my tour was really good. I think a tour will make or break high school students' decision, and my tour was pretty solid, and it helped that my tour guide was also an animal and nutritional sciences major, so I got to like bug her with all sorts of major specific questions as well.
That's really nice. So through the whole process of applying to colleges and like the applications and stuff, what is one thing that you wish you knew about the process before you started it?
I would say like the importance of a good dorm and a good roommate, because the living situation is really, really important and can often be overlooked.
Yeah.
When it comes to like incoming freshmen, because I mean, it's your home, it's where you're going to be. And so if you don't like your home where you're going to be, that sort of throws a wrench in your whole college experience.
If you don't like who you're living with, it's not going to be an enjoyable experience.
No, even if you're doing well academically, you're still going to have to go home and suffer.
I see that a lot as an RA.
Yeah.
A lot of people like to change rooms the first few months.
I'm sure, yeah.
Have you ever considered changing your major?
I don't think so. I mean, I did, like, when I was looking at adding biology, if you would count that. But once I had animal nutritional sciences and biology down, I knew that that's what I was going to stick with.
Yeah. Who helped you with the decision, like, when you were struggling with the biology, whether or not to minor or major? Who helped you with that decision, or did you just do it by yourself?
It was my two current advisors, one being Dr. Minch in the animal sciences field, and one being Dr. Lima in bio field. Dr. Lima was somebody that I reached out to because I had her as a professor, and then she had just by coincidence brought up that she was also an advisor for bio majors that were honor students, and I was like, that would be me. So I reached out to her in her office hours one day and brought it up, and she helped push me towards it, and it was actually a simple process.
Yeah. So I'm assuming you like both your majors.
Mm-hmm.
What is something specifically that you like about, you could say what you like about each one or what you like all together, or you can do both?
I would say both of them together are very hands-on, which is something that I really enjoy, both in just being able to do something other than sit in a classroom, but also I came here as a freshman during the pandemic where everything was online and I didn't have those like introductory labs or anything to be able to like have a hands-on experience my first year. So I think that pushes me to be, want to be in growth in every lab as possible while I'm here. And I think both majors provide really good opportunities to work hands-on, whether it's in a lab through bio or working out at the farm, being hands-on with animals as well.
Yeah. So can you talk to me about what a typical day looks like for you?
Crazy. This isn't really major specific. It's more just being a pre-vet major in general is you have to meet all these prerequisite classes for vet schools, and they all have different ones, unfortunately.
Yeah. What are the prereq classes?
It's as you expect. So like going up to organic chemistry, lots of science related electives. Some are like very specific, like they want a specific genetics or a specific animal physiology. They're all different, but for the most part, it's just your typical STEM, like for chems, bios, and physics classes.
Okay. So a lot similar to like med school, but
Yeah.
some specific classes are required for like different colleges?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's unfortunate. I had to make a whole like spreadsheet basically breaking down what each school requires to be able to understand what I need to take.
Okay.
Like what matches up and stuff like that.
That's interesting. So, back to what your typical day looks like.
Usually, so my schedule is always very packed, either with classes or when I don't have classes, I'm usually either working or volunteering in an animal-related field. Like I work part-time at an animal hospital, and when I'm not there, I could be seen volunteering at animal shelters and stuff like that. So it's like I'm really engrossing myself in the field, and it's apparent when you look at my Google Calendar how busy I am.
Do you take any time for yourself?
I try to when at all possible, but some weeks it's impossible to, and I just have to embrace it. I would say the times that I get to myself are in the evenings, like before bed. I have to allow some time before bed to like unwind from the day and like no studying, just scrolling mindlessly through TikTok or something just to like relax.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So how many, like, what's your schedule structure like based on like just classes? How does that work?
So for the past couple semesters, I've had ranging from, I would say 17 to 20 credits. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I do it to myself. But this semester, I believe I only have, I want to say 13.
That's nice.
Which is nice. As I'm getting closer to graduation, it's sort of like I get to mellow out.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
The windows down.
Yeah. And then next semester, I think will also be like 12.
Okay.
It's nice compared to my like 20.
Yeah.
But
That's very nice. Do you have like both biology, like classes relating to your biology major and then classes relating to your animal sciences major every day? Or is it like Monday, Wednesday, Friday's biology and then Tuesday?
it usually doesn't work out like that. It usually is just a mix, and it also depends on the semester. Like this semester, I didn't have any room to take animal science specific electives, and I'm taking biochem instead, which qualifies for that degree. But in the past, it's been a nice mix where, like, Tuesday I go out to the farm and help raise heifers, and then the Wednesday I come back and I'm in a microbiology lab, and then the Thursday I go back out to the farm and I'm working with chickens. Like, it kind of just depends on the schedule, and but it's a nice mix.
That's nice. So you said you work in the farm. How did you, I guess, stumble across that opportunity? Is it part of a class?
There are a lot of animal science classes that take place on the farm just to like promote that hands-on learning.
Yeah.
Working directly with the animals rather than just like sitting in a classroom learning about the animals. That's something that I really, really value in our animal science program, is just being able to go out there and work hands-on with animals, because that's the best way to learn, in my opinion.
Like you were saying, your major's very hands-on, and it's a good opportunity to work hands-on with the animals as well, because that's what you're learning about.
Right. And you don't want to like enter any field of animal science without being hands-on with animals.
Yeah.
And they being like your boss or someone expects you to be able to handle or feed and know all sorts of parts of the animals, and you might not know that by just sitting in a classroom.
Yeah. And you said you worked in an animal hospital too?
Yeah.
Can you talk to me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I work at Cheat Lake Animal Hospital. It's kind of split into an emergency clinic, 24/7, bring your animals whenever. But then there's also a general practice. And I'm usually on the general practice side, which is your basic, like, sick patients that aren't, like, actively dying or anything like that are brought to us. I'm an assistant there, so a lot of what I do is, like, going in with the patients and taking histories, sort of relaying that to our tech and our doctor. Usually our team is a doctor, a tech, and then an assistant, and they work together throughout the day. We mainly see dogs and cats. There are other doctors at our hospital that see, like, birds and other sorts of exotics, which is actually the field that I want to enter in.
Is more exotic animals?
Yeah, I'm interested in wildlife medicine.
Okay.
Like owls and possums and squirrels, things like that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So when you go to the animal hospital, you said you're more assistant, you take histories and stuff like that. So what is, like, some stuff you've seen there?
Usually with general practice, mainly we see a lot of, like, just vaccines and, like, wellness visits. We do a lot of, like, vaccinations, sorts of treatments regarding, like, maybe ear issues, sort of just your typical, like, it's an issue, but it's okay, you're not urgent.
Just, like, basic type stuff?
Yeah.
Like, fixable, right?
Yeah.
Right then there, probably.
Right. We don't see any trauma on that side or anything like that.
Have you ever been over to the emergency?
Yeah. I was actually there yesterday. I sometimes split time in the lab, which is on the urgent care side. And so even though I'm not working hands-on with the animals then and there during that shift, I do get to see, the animals that are brought in and watch them handle the trauma and stuff like that. And then I run all the blood work and stuff like that.
That's cool. So in the lab, you just run, like, blood work and stuff like that?
Yeah, blood work, urinalyses. I'll prepare ear cytology, like stains. Like, we spot the ears and rub the little goo ones on the stains. Yeah, it's mainly just blood work, though.
That's interesting. So kind of switching topics a little bit. What do you think and you can go back as far as you want with this, but what is your biggest failure? And don't feel rushed to answer. You can take your time to think.
Okay. I think I have set myself up, like, through the years to be very, like, hard on myself, especially, like, academically. Like, I only strive for the best, and I put myself down with, like, like, if I get a C on something, I'm upset, which is, like, a C is still passing. And I think I push myself really hard academically, which has good traits, but then mostly bad traits, and that I struggle with, like, certain aspects of being in college, especially, like, getting bad exam grades, like, being able to, like, step up from that and not let it, like, falter my entire experience, sort of thing.
Yeah, so would you say that, like, come academically, you're, like, your own worst enemy type thing?
Yes, very much so.
Do you think that's a lot of college students?
I would say so. I think it depends on, like, the person. Obviously, I think some are very high-strung when it comes to, only wanting the best for themselves in terms of, like, their academics.
Yeah. So now switching gears, how about your biggest success?
I think my biggest success is choosing the animal science field. I don't know, like, there was, like, a point where, like, I was, like, stressing myself out trying to, like, decide what I want to be, going through so many different career options, and then just saying, veterinary science might work. Maybe I'll try it out, and then throwing myself into those experiences and enjoying it, and then being as far as I am now, where I'm getting ready to graduate with an animal science and a biology degree, and perhaps get into vet school in the future. Like, that's pretty successful.
Yeah. So you said you wanted to go to vet school. So where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years? I suppose in 5 years.
And you can involve in much of your personal life if you want. You don't have to talk about it.
Let's see. Doing math here.
You're fine.
Is it building it? 5 years from now, I hope to be in the last year of vet school. Preparing for some sort of internship, probably. Mainly because with, wildlife medicine, you would have to probably intern somewhere to get more wildlife experience before just like jumping into the field as a wildlife doctor. So I'd probably be looking for that. I hope to have pets. A dog would be nice.
Yeah.
A dog and a cat, maybe. I really hope to get into Virginia, Maryland. That's like Virginia Tech's vet school. That would be probably best. That would be best for me because it's my in-state school. I'm from Virginia, so it'd also be closer to home.
That'd be nice.
So I'd be able to see my family more.
That'd be nice. Talk to me a little bit about like the process of applying to vet school and like the process of going through vet school.
So it's very comparable to med school with like the application process, except we don't have like a sort of entrance exam.
Okay.
We used to rely on the GRE, but that's sort of like schools are kind of getting rid of that.
Yeah.
So it's really just, it's very strongly, they say it's not, it feels like it's very strongly academics, where like you have to have like at least a 3 GPA to be considered, if not higher. You have to meet all the prerequisite classes, which like if you miss any, they won't even look at your application. So there's like, it's VMCAS is like the application service. It works the same way. You like put all your personal information in, stuff like that. You put experiences in. Experiences are weighed really heavily in the process. I think most schools require at least 100 hours of veterinary experience, if not more. But it's very much quality over quantity, I would say.
Okay.
In terms of experiences that you have, like if you have 20,000 hours of doing something small where you can't really justify, I did this to prepare me for my future, because that doesn't look as good as saying, I for 5 hours did this and this betters me for my future, because like just being able to justify what you do is really important. And they like allow like you put in a description whenever you put in your experiences, which is nice to be able to advocate for that. They have it broken down to veterinary experience, which is any experience you have with a veterinarian, animal experience, which is any animal experience you have that's not under supervision of the vet. There's research experiences, volunteers, which that's not related to animals, like any generalized volunteering that you do. Then employment and extracurriculars are all like, they're really broken down topics of experiences, and they don't, other than they require 100 veterinary experience hours, they don't set standards for how many hours you should have in each topic.
Okay.
Which is nice, but also like I don't know where I stand in terms of my hours. But I suppose it's also nice that I don't have to compare myself to people. I don't have to be like, oh, I'm not going to get in because I haven't met this requirement, sort of thing. But experience hours are really important. That's something that they just hold very highly. And there's an interview process as well. Like after they review your application and deem you qualified for an interview, they're either in person or over Zoom. I think they're pushing it more towards in person again. And that's when you can also justify your experiences. and be able to talk about more of your personal life and stuff like that. I don't know.
And explain like your application and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Open-ended things.
Yeah. There's also a personal essay part of it too, where you have like, I think it's like 600 characters or 600 words, maybe. I don't know. I think it's like a page length, if not probably a little smaller.
600 words.
600 words. To just sort of justify why you want to enter the field, you know, just sort of throw yourself out there. And they hold that really high too, because if you just, you know, say, I did this field because I like animals, then they're kind of be like, okay, well, so did this person and this person and this person. So it's your really only opportunity to be able to express yourself in a way that differentiates your application from others and shows I should be accepted over this person.
Okay. So they really take more into account the personal aspects on the ones that you explain more of your story, like you said, the interview and the personal statement, and like your experiences and stuff.
I would say so, that they do hold that very highly. But then there's also the academic aspect of it, where like if you don't have this GPA or meet these prerequisites, you're probably not even going to be considered. Like they'll probably like stop looking at your application then and there.
Yeah. So you mentioned research. What are like some examples of research in like the animal science field that you've heard of? Or are you in research?
I'm in research. No, I work with the poultry division.
Okay.
A lot of research in the animal field, at least even at just WVU, is nutrition based.
Okay.
So it's a lot of like seeing how different components of animal feed helps like boost like growth or other aspects of.
Okay. So how do you like measure that?
So,
or what's the research process?
So usually it's through processing. When we work with food animals, the most like an important aspect of food animals is being able to produce food for consumers and stuff. So it's usually just a processing process.
Yeah.
Where we measure, you know, the amount of meat that we get from the animal and, you know, the quality of it as well. Because, I mean, you could have a ton of bad quality meat and that's, you know,
yeah,
people don't want that.
No. So jumping back to where do you see yourself in 10 years?
In 10 years, I would like to say that I'm in practice. I'd like to say in the wildlife field. So either at like a rehabilitation center or even like a zoo or something where like I'm working specifically with wildlife or maybe some like federal division of wildlife as well. Yeah, I'm kind of open-ended about like the specific career field.
Do you have like a dream career?
Definitely. I don't know. So I worked at the Wildlife Center of Virginia for the summer, last summer, and that's where I fell in love with wildlife medicine, and it's only like 30 minutes away from home.
That's nice.
So like, I mean, that's honestly the ideal place of work, but it's also like I very much want to, you know, spread my wings. I want to get out of home, but then also, you know, home is providing this amazing opportunity for me to, you know, pursue my dreams, with the dream quite literally being working there.
Yeah.
So.
So you said that. Sorry, I'm running out of questions here. Would you ever consider working at like a zoo or anything like that?
So you would ask that like literally this week. So literally last weekend, I went with the pre-vet club to the Pittsburgh Zoo.
Okay.
And we got to tour like the veterinary facilities and more of like sort of the background aspect of a zoo, which was really cool. The only thing that pushes me away from zoo medicine, I think, is you're expected to know every species at a zoo. Which, I mean, that ranges from, like, a frog to, like, a giraffe.
Yeah.
Like, it's just different animals that you have to know the care, the nutrition, and all sorts of different aspects of that, and it's overwhelming to me to even think about.
Yeah.
Wildlife medicine in itself can be overwhelming, but they're also all species that I grew up with. I'm more focused on, like, you know, Eastern Appalachia sort of animals, like your squirrels, your possums and owls, you know, things that, you know, we see in our backyard. You know, I don't work hands-on with elephants in my backyard, so
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe if I, like, went out and got an experience at a zoo, I would think differently, but it just really overwhelmed me to think.
No, that makes sense. That makes complete sense. I mean, from my perspective, I would have thought, like, there was, like, in the, I don't know the specific terms for animals, but I mean, like, with, like, the gorillas and the monkeys, I would have thought, like, there was one,
Like a primate doctor.
yeah, like a primate doctor, and then there was, like, an amphibian doctor or something, like, one that specialized in that, not someone that needs to know, like, every single thing.
I think it also depends on the zoo.
Yeah, probably, like, the size of it.
The size of the zoo, just how they want to work things. If they want to have more doctors, you know, pay more doctors to be able to specialize in that, then maybe there are some zoos out there that work that way. But I know a lot of zoos are kind of just, you're expected to know everything and take anything that comes in your way.
Yeah, that makes sense. So do you want to own your own practice as, like, a wild? You said, I don't, like, is there, like, a group of animals? But you said Appalachian, right? So is there, like, you want to own your own practice with that, or how does that specific job category work?
There are, like, rehab centers and, I mean, just wildlife centers sort of scattered around the East Coast. I don't see myself owning my own practice just from, like, the economics and, like, the business aspect of that. I kind of just want to practice and not have to worry about, you know, owning a business or anything like that. Yeah, I don't see myself owning something. I feel like that's a lot more work and on my end, and I don't have enough business experience to be able to do that.
Yeah.
I would much rather just go somewhere and work for somebody, honestly.
Yeah. So, jumping, now that we're coming to a close, what is something that you think really helped you through college, like, personally, that you had?
I would say friends are important. It's really cliche, but, like, just to be able to have people that you can lean on and, like, have that sort of support system behind you, and that allows you to sort of, like, relax and not be so high-strung or anything with school. That's really important, especially people that, you know, you share interests with, like people that are in your major or are interested in what you want to be involved in. Then you can also talk about parts of that and work together, you know, to do applications or projects that coincide, sort of things.
Yeah. So what do you think something that's helped you through college academically?
I would say organization is really, really important, which
You mentioned your Google Calendar.
oh my God, my Google Calendar, Excel is my best friend. Just, like, keeping things as organized as possible, because it can be a lot. Whether with assignments and projects, or even just, like, you know, scheduling time for yourself, scheduling time to hang out with your friends. That's also important, and parts that should be in your calendar. But I think, I don't know, I'm somebody that has to have everything written out, you know, a sort of to-do list.
Me too.
Where, like, you know,
Oh, yeah.
I'll forget otherwise.
Yeah.
It's overwhelming. College is overwhelming sometimes, and it's important to have things organized. So when you do get overwhelmed, you can just, like, sit back and see things nicely set out for you. Like, this is what I need to accomplish in this time. Rather than being like, oh God, I have a million things to do by Thursday. Like, I need to do this all right now.
Yeah. What is one question that you wish I'd asked you, and how would you have answered?
Okay.
Or one part of, like, your college experience that you wish I would have touched on? You mentioned clubs.
Yeah.
How important do you think those are?
Very. I mean, it depends on some majors require community service, some don't, but I think it's important to get involved no matter what. I'm kind of biased in that.
Because you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm also president of a club on campus, WVU Paul's.
Okay.
Where we do a lot of like service-based fundraisers and stuff, where we raise money for local animal shelters and animal-related organizations. We've donated $500 to at least 3 different organizations for the past couple semesters.
That's really cool.
It's incredible being able to do that. And I can't imagine having a college experience without being involved in that club. I've been an officer for, I think, 1.5 years now. And it's just been, like, just such a huge part of my life here.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's also important to get involved with clubs to meet new people and make friends, especially with a club that represents, you know, a sort of interest or a hobby or something, maybe not even related to what you want to do academically. I joined Paul's because I'm an animal lover, also because I'm involved in the veterinary field. Like, both of those things work together. But I'm also meeting new people that aren't in the veterinary field but are also animal lovers.
Yeah.
So I'm able to meet people that I otherwise probably wouldn't have been able to meet on campus, and be able to just talk about our animals, show pictures of our cats and our dogs, and it's really wholesome that way.
That's really nice. So what's one tip that you have for anybody coming into college in general? It can be related to your specific major if you want it to.
I would say in general, you know, bringing up the organization aspect of it again, that's crazy important. And you want to make sure that you have those methods down before, you know, you get deep into your college experience and you don't know how to, you know, maintain a calendar. Same thing with like study methods. It's important to develop those probably pretty early, before, you know, you start failing classes or anything like that. It's cliche, but like just getting involved on campus, especially, you know, being an incoming freshman. I'm biased because I was the only person from my school, my year, that came to West Virginia. So I genuinely didn't know anybody here, which was overwhelming, but also like I got to, you know, start fresh, meet new people, which was really hard in the pandemic.
Yeah.
You know, it's important to like throw yourself out there to be able to like ensure that you have a good college experience, because I can't imagine having any sort of college experience without, you know, when you're by yourself.
Yeah. It's definitely, organization and study tactics are definitely emphasized a lot in high school and by professors and stuff like that. The name of my podcast that I'm doing is called Samples of Science Cuisine.
Okay.
So to wrap this up, what is your favorite type of cuisine?
Oh, I mean, I could go for a good sandwich.
Like, sandwiches are good.
I eat up a good sandwich.
I think they're comfort food.
Yeah, they really are. And there's so many different kinds. You can put different kinds on there. Different kinds of sandwiches, subs. Like, you could just go crazy with a good sandwich.
Yeah.
And you can also make them at home. And it, like, you know, they're a dorm meal.
Yeah.
And you don't need a microwave for a good sandwich.
No. You just keep the stuff in the fridge.
Yes.
Well, thanks for talking to me today. It was very interesting.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.